So, what makes me cranky about Black Panther? Pretty much the same thing that made me cranky about Wonder Woman. That we can't just judge this movie on its merits as another Marvel superhero movie. It's gotta be a cultural event, fraught with all manner of political implications because it happens to be about a black superhero and features a cast and crew that are also predominantly black. We've got publications so desperate to turn this into some kind of milestone they can exploit that they have to reach to the ends of the earth for a framing that will make it so. Black Panther is the first ever movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to feature a black superhero to come out in February of 2018. Yeah, that's it. History in the making. In any case, I don't want my entertainment so wrapped up in politics that I start hearing that little voice in the back of my head whispering, "Be careful what you say about this movie, or you might get famous in the worst way." So like with Wonder Woman, I'm just gonna shut that voice up by putting my cards right on the table here, because also like Wonder Woman, Black Panther is a very mediocre movie. And that makes me pretty cranky, because it's been a while since Marvel has whiffed like this. Even Doctor Strange, which is probably the last one I thought was really weak, saved itself from utter mediocrity with the surprisingly hilarious subversion of the usual superhero ending. Fortunately, a Marvel whiff is usually better than everyone else's best, so that doesn't make it a painful experience, but Black Panther is just filled with missed opportunities. I mean, you have some great actors here doing great work. Chadwick Boseman basically invented the Wakandan accent for his debut in Captain America Civil War, and now we get to see him in his own individual movie with this character. It's awesome. You got a really cool concept in the form of a hidden, technologically advanced society still rooted in a tribal culture. You've got the Civil War springboard to give your character an extra boost over the perfunctory origin story hurdles, and all of that is for naught, because they got too wrapped up in world building to tell a good story. Here we have T'Challa, suddenly thrust into leadership of Wakanda after the death of his father in Civil War, and rather than focusing on him having to come to grips with that, and figuring out how to be king, and focusing on what that means, we jump off into what's basically an excuse to show off all the cool Wakandan tech and have a car chase. At times, it almost feels like this film has ADHD. Hey, we gotta show you this epic green screen vista. Oh, wait. Check out this new character who's really not necessary for the story. And ooh, there's a fancy new costume. And sweet, look at that crazy technology we're not even gonna bother explaining, so it might as well be magic. They can't even pick a villain, which is a shame, because either of them on their own as the focus of this story would have been great. Andy Serkis's Claw is quirky and hilarious, which contrasts really well with the super serious T'Challa, and it's interesting to watch a hero deal with someone who doesn't have aspirations of world domination for once. Plus, he's been around since Age of Ultron, which makes it one of the few times we get to see a recurring baddie in any of these superhero movie franchises. On the other hand, you've got Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger, who is a Marvel bad guy with an actual complex motivation for once, and he brings with him a fictional political question with real-world resonance that's really worth exploring. It could even tie in extremely well with the larger happenings in the MCU itself, but never mind that. Check out his version of the Black Panther suit. He's really gonna kick some ass now. I thought we were beyond the simple mirror image of the hero fights the hero stuff. Those fight sequences are probably the part of the movie that most disappointed me, by the way. The direction and the editing for most of the action sequences just isn't very good. Some of the action sequences are really dark and therefore simply hard to see. Others are just not edited well, so they're difficult to follow. And that surprised me because director Ryan Coogler did such an amazing job with the boxing sequences in Creed that I figured we were in for a real treat here. Sadly, other than one particular sequence that comes to mind, it's just, not so much. Further, if I'm being perfectly frank about it, some of the CGI and green screen work here is as absurdly obvious as it was in Justice League, which is definitely not something that Marvel typically drops the ball on. Could they really not find an African plane to shoot on for the stuff that takes place outside the immediate backdrop of Wakanda? And could they not spoil the movie with the Infinity War trailer? I was kind of hoping the conflict or setting of Black Panther would not be affected by his presence in that trailer, but unfortunately it ruined most of the tension of this story for me because I knew with absolute certainty how it had to end. So to sum up, Black Panther is pretty much a mid-level Marvel movie with a really interesting concept that just isn't executed terribly well because it just wants to show off how cool Wakanda can be rather than explore Black Panther's place in it. As I said, though, mid-level Marvel is still pretty good, so feel free to catch a matinee if you aren't already. And as always for Marvel movies, don't forget to stay to the end of the credits for your post-credits stinger. That's what I thought about Black Panther anyway. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you'd like to help with dinosaur representation in media, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel since it's one of the only dinosaur-led channels on YouTube.